Hi, everybody. My name is Sarita Scherpereel, and I am not your mother's realtor. And this is my podcast, Shit Just Got Real Estate. And I'm joined by my best friend and co-host, Megan Osberger.
Hi, everyone. Today, we're really happy to have Mike Facchini, the branch manager at Fairway Mortgage, here with us.
Hey, Mike.
How we doing?
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. I feel like we have a heavy hitter on today. No, I really do. And we kind of went back and forth on the emails a lot. And for us, I think what's so dynamic about you is your extensive background and all the different things that you do, whether it's lending as an investor and now as you're finished building your home. So we just kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the projects that you've done and just get into it today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. As you hinted, there's been a lot going on in my life right now, different projects, and I think we're going to talk about a little bit how that's been affected by COVID. Really interesting time to try to do any kind of project right now. I've been in lending like 21 years, and I bought my first property like 19 years ago. So I was 2 years in. I just did it because I figured that's what I was supposed to do. I was around like 22, 23 years old. And I've
just because you were supposed to do it, meaning like you kind of
you know what, I was in lending and I see all these people. I was 23 years old, 22, 23. And I see all these clients and other people in my office buying real estate. And I'm like, okay, so I got to start buying investment properties, right? That's the way that we build wealth. And it was obviously the right decision, but
sure.
My first property I ever bought was a house hack before house hacking even had a term. Right. This is 2003. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2003. And so I bought it and I just loaded it up with people living in the units and renting bedrooms from my unit. And, I was I was living for really cheap. Wow. I was just frugal. I wanted beer money, really. And my process was not sophisticated, by the way, ladies. It was near some bars. It was near a gym. It was near like Jewel, and that was all that my requirements were, right? And by the L and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, this looks like a place I'd have fun living.
And that the first one was here in Chicago.
Yeah, it's right over like in West Lakeview, I guess you would call it, kind of southeast corner of Roscoe, West Lakeview, just west of Ashland on Berry Avenue.
I know exactly where you're talking about. My friends live right over there, and it was a fun place to go. I'm like,
oh, it's great. You know Cody's Bar? You guys ever been to Cody's Bar? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So that was 3 doors down. And I remember going there after seeing the place and having beers and eating free pretzels, and like people are bringing their dogs in, and they're like Cody's, I don't know now, they used to let you bring meat to the grills that they supplied in back. Oh, cool. Play bags.
Wow. Wow. That sounds like real old school Chicago right there. Yeah. Like, totally. Bring your own meat. Like
the bottles of beer for $2. So that is old. They were stuck, 20, 30 years ago. So anyways, I went and saw this building and I liked it. And that was why I bought it. I looked at other buildings, of course, too. But I wasn't sophisticated in running models like I am now.
Sure.
The numbers drove it to a degree, but kind of my gut drove most of the process, and I still own it. One of the greatest investments I ever. Yeah.
That's awesome.
As I say, I think these properties, multi-units, are like 401ks that pay for themselves, right? So one day you'll owe nothing on it. It'll be kicking out these dividends, the rent. Sure, you'll have some taxes and insurance. You'll have to buy a new microwave. You'll have to fix that leaky pipe, stuff like that. But for the most part, it's free and clear at some point and kicks out all this rent. And what retirement account pays for itself? Mm-hmm. Right. And then one day, double, triples in value, but also pays you like an annuity, every month. So
wonderful.
I'll hold on to that thing forever. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds like too, you kind of got lucky with the first one that you didn't have any, dramatic issues that shifted your thinking into maybe it not being for you. So that was like a huge blessing that it did go really well.
Well, I will say, I mean, and I talked to a lot of our clients about this. I think the first or second building people buy, it's very freaky, and they nickel and dime all these little things.
Sure.
And nickel and diming things is not a healthy way to get into investing,
Right.
because there's going to be so many expenses that if you knew what the next 10 years look like, you're gonna be like, oh man, right?
Sure.
I don't want to do this. But the benefits far outweigh those expenses. So I didn't have huge issues. I've had some plumbing stuff going on at this building. It's about 100 and some years old now, right? So there's gonna be stuff. I had like rats infiltrate. They chewed through the foundation. Yeah.
Oh my God. Mike, you just said my like trigger word.
I know, we both just like stopped in our tracks. Like
it was all out war, like camo under the eyes.
I can't believe you won, honestly. Like, it's so hard.
It's really hard. Yeah. And disgusting. It's
I've never even had them. I want to just be clear, everyone. I had like a rat problem under a garage. I cannot.
And not on their property, the property next door. So it was still hard.
It was a nightmare, like actual nightmares I would have. We don't need to get into that because I'm not paying you $150 an hour, but I feel for you really hard right now.
Oh yeah. They're crafty. They're smart. I mean, we were breaking glass and mesh wire and nails and putting it into cement and setting the cement to try to prevent them from chewing through again. We're doing all kinds of things. So I mean, everyone's going to have their story about this building or that building. That one, for the most part, is pretty good. I've had other investments, lots of challenges. The one that I'm living in right now.
We have been like cooing and cawing over your living room with the tree.
I just want to say, like, anyone who can walk into their living room, take a picture of it and send it to us. We're essentially strangers, but not Sarita. They know each other better. We've just met over email. I was literally like, I did a whole like thing in my kitchen just to take the picture. I had to clear everything. I had to wait till my kid was asleep. I mean, that was just, you have a beautiful home.
It's a beautiful home.
Everybody follow at Sarita Sells Chicago and you will be able to see the pictures. We'll put them up.
And we'll also make sure we tag Facchini Finance, because that's your handle, right? Facchini Finance. So that we can see some of these. Because I think that, okay, like just to get into this, what you bought, the before photo, I mean, holy shit. And I have to also ask a little bit about your wife on this one, because obviously you've had 21 years of experience. She loves you. She knows what she's getting involved in. She knows that probably at some point.
Does anyone?
Yeah,
really?
exactly. Like, at some point he's probably going to make you build a house. Like she probably knew that from the jump. But I look at that and I do these things all day long, and I would have been like, holy shit, like this is a lot.
Yeah. It would have been easier, like I said, to just level it and start with dirt. What we did was more complicated than a rehab, was more complicated than construction. We were taking one of 3 bungalows left in Lincoln Park and trying to honor the history of the facade, but retrofitting most everything else. We dug out,
lift it up.
No, so we dug out the basement.
Right.
Okay. We took out everything. It was an open shell. You saw the one picture in process of demo. It looked like the Coliseum. It was just open, raining in there. So we dug out the basement, took everything out of here except for brick walls. We kept 3.5 brick walls. Of those 3.5 brick walls, we opened new openings for new windows and patio doors. We closed old windows, made bigger ones, smaller ones. We just messed with all that brick. And then we added an extra 2 feet to the first floor, which was 8 feet tall. Now it's 10 feet tall.
Okay.
Then we built a full first floor and we went out the side as well.
Right.
So we really went down, up, and out, and just kept some brick walls to do that.
Did you get to use your patio yet? I'm sorry to interrupt. It's so beautiful. I was like, I would love to sit on that.
Let's take it for a little journey.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. He lives in a magazine. What the fuck, Mike? This is not fair.
Look at you.
I know you work really hard, but damn. Oh, there's
What's your dog's name?
Is there a dog?
Oh no, that was Mike's dog. No, that was Mike's.
I thought we were looking at a dog all of a sudden. I didn't.
Oh no. It was my pride and joy, the pizza.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that one was a little pain in the ass to build, by the way. So,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow,
So-
Mike, that's stunning.
Oh,
Thank you.
in love
Thank
with
you.
it.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I appreciate
So I
it.
guess now at this point, anybody who's listening to us on Spotify has to get off Spotify and check out the links on YouTube so that
Yeah.
you can see that beautiful pizza
But
oven.
you'll see it on our Instagram too.
It is a pizza oven, right?
Yeah, it's a pizza oven, and you can do a lot more than just pizza and pizza ovens. You can cook
Yeah.
turkey in there. You can slow cook chicken and vegetables, steaks, whatever.
Wow.
Can you leave it
You
open
know-
and like use it as a fireplace?
Yeah, I think you could do that. You know, it's not going to put a lot of heat out because it has a chimney.
Because
Oh,
it kind of
right.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's like how
The
it like kind of
point.
cooks up.
Yeah, good point.
Okay. So I'm sorry. Thank you for taking on this tour.
Sorry.
But I got to know about this 3.5 walls that you had of brick. So
Yeah.
for permitting purposes, was that the reason why you kept the walls? Dun, dun, dun,
Bingo.
dun.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So, for one thing, we're in Lincoln Park, and there's a lot of big homes going up,
Mhm.
and you have this is a street where there's a lot of homes that people have lived here for a while, and to get their blessing, so you go through the process of kissing rings of your neighbors,
Right.
then the alderman, then the zoning board, right? So first we kissed the neighbors' rings where we said, listen, we're not going to build this monolithic home. It's going to be very tastefully done. We're going to honor, and as you see the pictures before and after, we kept that facade. So that was part one. Part two was when we go to the zoning board, we had to get 2 variances because we were going against 2 lot lines, the back lot line and the side lot line. The property has an irregular lot. Most lots, as we know, are 25 by 125 deep, 25 feet wide. This one's 53 wide
Ooh.
by 70 deep. So
Nice.
it's short,
Yeah, but
it's
it's
square.
wide. Yeah.
Right, it's almost square. So we really wanted to use the footprint to our advantage. We built an attached garage and that deck off the side and the rooftop deck and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
It goes right to our neighbors. There's no setback at all,
Right.
not even an inch. And so we had to get that variance and the variance on the back end of it to build up and out.
Mhm.
Was that
so-
difficult? I mean, in terms of the neighbors building so close to them?
So one neighbor, his daughter went to school with my niece. The other neighbor is an Italian from New York.
Okay.
So, we use that to our advantage. And
Wonderful.
we showed them plans and we're like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And it's going to help values in the neighborhood and all that good stuff. Right. So I'll take you on a journey. So what happened, because you mentioned Ashley, my wife. So what happened was we started looking, because we had to move out of our loft at some point, and we started looking at townhomes.
Mhm.
But I threw in single families into the mix. I saw the single family, which loved the location, and I loved the irregular but oversized lot. I took Ashley, and her reaction was exactly what you'd probably predict. She's like, absolutely not. Because we walked in, and it was this bungalow that, other than the kitchen, hasn't been really updated in years, from 1930.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And just to interrupt you, just to give a little bit of a understanding of what bungalows are in the city. So if you haven't seen them, they're notoriously small, tight, a little bit boxy in terms of layout and functionality. So to do what Mike did is really impressive for many reasons, but also to go from a bungalow setup to what you have now, is really impressive. I just wanted to say that. I feel like you wouldn't necessarily say that. So I just have to say that that was
And
really impressive.
They have a peaked roof typically. So in
Mhm.
your upstairs, it's usually like 2 bedrooms and a middle bathroom. And if it hasn't been changed, and the roof literally comes to a point, so half of it, you cannot stand up inside.
Yeah, think of like Hobbit housing.
Yeah. It's like the kind of house that my husband does not fit inside of. So
Yeah.
we had to rule it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's
sorry
very-
to
it's very
interrupt.
true.
Yeah, this is for our
No, that's a
viewers.
great point. So back when the immigrants were coming over, they were building these things, boom, 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 just
Yeah.
plopping them up, right? And then at one point, Sears was training in pieces,
Right.
and you wouldn't, but your contractors would pick up pieces of your house off a train and go build it. So yeah, the typical bungalow, you walk in, you hit a coat closet, you turn left and you'll go into a living room, a dining room, and a kitchen on one side. and then the other side will be bedroom, bathroom, bedroom, with a hallway down the middle, and that's your first floor. And then the second floor A-frame, like you said, down the middle, you'll have a bedroom, bathroom in the middle, and then another bedroom. So she walks through and she's like, no. I said, just trust me. All of this is gone. All of this is gone. The ceiling, we're going up, and we're taking off the second floor completely. We're redoing the second floor. And yeah, it doesn't look anything like what it was. So we went to Oktoberfest for my 40th birthday. She surprised me with 25 people going to Oktoberfest in Munich.
You mean in Germany?
In Munich, yeah.
I'm sorry. I was thinking like, in like,
Wicker Parks or what's
I
the
was
St.
thinking
Alfonso's
like,
does
yeah,
like an Oktoberfest,
like
I think, in LP.
Lincoln Square.
Yeah, the Catholic churches.
Lincoln
Yeah.
Square. That's
Yeah.
what I thought. That's what I thought. She gave me lederhosen at Taco Bell. I wanted to go to Taco Bell, and I opened it up, and I'm like, oh, great. All right, we're going to Lincoln Square. No, so 3 days later, we flew to Munich, and a bunch of friends surprised me there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hashtag life goals.
Yeah. Hashtag keeper.
Yeah.
She is the best. I've had 10 birthdays with her, and about 7 are surprises. 8.
Oh.
Wow.
All surprises. Yeah. She's really good at it. So,
Sorry, Ben.
Amazing.
And her
trip.
husband.
We're in process of negotiating this home during that. And then we land, and it's all happening. We close end of November. We go through zoning several months. We go through permitting several months. 6 months later, we are ready to demo. This is around May or June of 2019. Okay. We get into demo. We're doing our thing. The house is torn apart. They start doing framing. The framing crew that was put on this did not know what they were doing. They built much of the side. They threw the joists down on the top of the first floor to create second floor. They started framing the walls of the second floor. Things were just really poorly done. Had to rip it all down. And by the way, this is all at my expense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm chasing people in court, but not to scare people out there who are listening. A lot of times you don't get money.
Yeah.
You chase in court, it doesn't go anywhere. So all this lumber thrown out, labor, you guys are fired. The masons, that door I just walked out of, they cut a hole. The original masons cut a hole 3 feet too far north on the wall. It would have come into my dining room instead of been in the kitchen.
Wow.
I go over one day, and this is double with brick. Like, these old bungalows were basically 2 horses of brick. They were like a cold storage facility. They held energy in so well. And he's cutting through all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God. So sued him. And he did a bunch of other mistakes. That was just one of many. Okay. So now I'm stopping the project 2019 around August. Everyone's fired. And I have to go find new crews, which, by the way, is very tough to do when you're towards the end of a season of construction where the weather's appropriate. Find people to start with me end of October. It starts snowing November 2nd. I don't have windows in. I don't have a roof. I mean, this place is not sealed at all.
The framing is up, right? So it's just basically exposed wood in some part? No.
We're tearing all that down.
Good.
So
Yeah,
it's
we left the,
Back to where it was.
pretty much, we left the floor so that it wasn't snowing into the first floor. So we left the ceiling / second floor,
Okay.
tore everything above that out. We had to shore up all these joists because what I did on the first floor, it's 25.5 feet wide home, the home, not the lot.
Mhm.
We took everything out. It's an open concept now, other than this wall behind me and then a single kitchen wall. There's 2 walls, but otherwise it's an open concept with joists and LVLs, which are very thick pieces of wood that span across. We had to shore all that up. It was a nightmare. So now I'm trying to get people to finish the exterior, the masons, the carpenters, amidst a Chicago winter 2019. It's snowing, it's cold like crazy.
hearing this story and knowing what's coming. You're like, 2020 is going to be my year. You're all of us. Oh my God. And then you're going to get punched in the face, Mike. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert!
No, but we all know it's coming. like watching Titanic.
Yeah.
We see
You're
the iceberg
exactly
before
right.
you do.
This is hard. I'm so sorry.
Yep. So the exterior, finally, the envelope, as it's called, gets sealed. There's windows in, the masonry's up. We're ready to move inside. It's end of February 2020. Things continue to unravel because we know why. And so what was tough is obviously people are getting sick. You think it's the virus that's going to kill everyone, right? So we don't want to have too many people in this house. I'm trying to manage crews where there's only 1 or 2 people in the house at a time. You ladies know it's hard enough to get contractors to places when there isn't, COVID, right? So now at this time, we're trying to get people to manage when they're there, when they're not there. People are getting sick, their wives are getting sick. It dragged on forever. We moved in, and there's all kinds of mistakes along the way, so I'm not going to bore our audience here. We moved in April of 2021, so just this spring.
Wow. Okay.
And it was like 90% done with lots of mistakes. Because the problem is not only were people barely able to get there, but when they got there, they were rushing through their time in your home to try to do stuff, cutting corners, right?
Yeah. Like 100 other people waiting for them to show up too. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody, and that's part of, what I hinted at the beginning of this video is everyone's saying yes. They're not business people. They're not project managers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think there's really smart, successful business people out there that are having a hard time with staffing right now on any kind of business, restaurants, whatever. So contractors by trade are not used to managing way too many projects at once or saying no for that matter. So they just don't say no, they say yes.
Right. Because they don't want to say no because they think, and this is, I think, very similar to what a lot of people in the real estate industry feel is like, you don't know if your last paycheck is the next paycheck is your last. So they'll often kind of like oversell, underdeliver, or what's worse, especially like in COVID, they just say yes to things and then you don't get quotes back or you never hear from them again. And you meet them at the property and you think, oh, wow, this guy's really great. This is going to be a really great contractor. I'm going to love and recommend to everybody. And then bye, see you never, so it's that I'm sure was pretty difficult. But so especially somebody like you, and I think I want anybody who's listening, who's a client of mine that maybe is doing house hacking or other seasonal investing, to have your extensive experience that you've done before this, to also experiencing the problems, I think is such a great equalizer to what it is people can, and I don't want to say anticipate, but you want to kind of manage your expectations for these projects, because you can see anybody who's just as so experienced as Mike is, that has also had difficulties during COVID and then also post-COVID. Are we post-COVID? I don't think we are. I don't think I can say that. I don't think I can say that. No, strike that from the record.
Yeah, no, that's true. I have honestly, besides my own struggles, I do a ton of renovation lending, as you know, and I have a lot of clients calling me crying almost at this point. And I said, you're not alone. I have been doing this for years. I typically do a couple projects a year. And I think this upcoming year, I might do one just because there's such a lack of control. And you can't depend on materials. You can't depend on costs. You can't depend on a lot of things. So when they call, I say, listen, this is not your fault. You're not alone.
Well, and I think you have to have that. I mean, that's wonderful, but you have to have that honest insight with your clients. And we do, because we want to set expectations. But I know I had 2 properties that were under contract with you this year. Both buyers ended up not doing construction loans because even to get contractors out to give quotes on projects to start construction lending was extremely difficult. And then you talk about material delays and timeline. And, sometimes it's easier to find something that maybe is a little bit more turnkey, where you can do the sexy projects like a bathroom or a kitchen without having to do such an extensive rehab. And ultimately, especially, you and your family, everybody needs a place to live. So you kind of have to start making a little bit of concessions of like, okay, well, do I want to rent another year, or do I want to just kind of like move forward with another opportunity?
Yeah. Very true. Yeah.
This is like a good way to ask you, how did you manage, like, this is a personal project and you've done a ton of investment projects. Can you talk about the difference there?
Yes, that's a great question. This one almost killed me. So I've done other rehabs, I've done new construction, and those will keep you up at night and those will punch you in the gut. But this one weighed on me so much. My daughter was born May of 2020.
Oh, congratulations.
So, thank you. Thank you so much. And first one too. So as a father, I'm now adjusting to, I need to provide not just financially, but literally a roof over our head. Literally, we didn't have a roof for a long time. So that was hitting me really hard.
And Ashley and baby weren't like, it's Francesca, right? Your daughter's name is
Francesca. Yeah.
They weren't like, hey dad, let's I like this Coliseum vibe here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Not so much.
Like studying abroad in Italy just because it feels like home.
She's like, yeah, this is how I grew up.
By the way, all the mistakes that were made in the house, we call that character, which in Italy, you see a lot of that. And that gives me like, that's self-preservation right there, by the way. That is a person who's been kicked so many times. They're just like, oh, this is character now, right? So it was incredibly stressful. The budget doubled
Ouch.
because of all the mistakes and everything. And your bank, they give you a certain amount of money. So we were tapping into things to pull cash. Deadlines, I'm very like operationally built and deadline built. Like, Sarita, when your buyers are going through, we have our timelines. You got to hit those timelines. That's how our world works.
Are
it's
you
not
a Virgo?
how contract. No, I was September 23rd. So what is that? Is that Virgo or Libra? Is that Libra?
Can you Google it, Kayla? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I feel like you got some Virgo tendencies. So like Melissa Tannehill, the attorney I work a lot with, she's a Virgo. And that's also why I love her, is she's just down the line.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
you're a
that's-
Capricorn? You said September. You said
No,
September.
September 23rd is, I think it's
September
Libra.
23rd. Yeah, I think it might be a Libra. Okay. Maybe that's why we get along, because I'm also a Libra. So yeah, the deadlines were, it just probably became,
Missed.
yeah.
Oh, missed, over and over with every contractor, everyone involved. And it's a domino effect. This guy can't do his job because this guy didn't do his job because that guy didn't do his job, right? And so snowballs. And so after a while, it's a custom home, it's a complicated home. And so after a while, I just had to let fate take it.
Oh,
and
sure.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now on investments where it's a little more cookie cutter and you are just buying standard cabinets and the rooms are square and it's easier to fit things in. You don't have to go crazy. Those types of projects aren't as bad. This home, I would never do again. I honestly would do a new construction home way before I would do what we did.
Salvaging.
Yeah,
So now you also have your wife that's involved in this too. So if you're working with other investors and you guys are all like, well, it's about the numbers, who cares if it's, marble or what? But was that harder with your wife? Because then you have two different tastes you're trying to mold together into one home, and like what that vision is of home.
Yeah. Yes. There were times where we would go to our consiglieris, our consultants. So family, friends, hey, here are two things. What do you think? Right. But most of the time we were on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of it, honestly, to her credit, she was cool with letting me lead and take the lead on, because she's like, all right, well, this is your world. Some of the finishes we probably just disagreed on, but a lot of the other structural decisions or how the rooms would flow, she let me take lead on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to throw your marriage under the bus here at all. But what I want people to have an understanding of that insight. We talked to Josh and Jess, who did a renovation in Bridgeport. They mentioned that, like, for the most part, their marriage was pretty much smooth sailing, but then they decided to do a renovation and it was just nothing but fighting. Too many cooks in the kitchen kind of happen on these things. And I thought, in terms of working with investors, also investing for yourself, with people, and then your wife, that the personal use and switching hats from one to another might have been a harder change. So I was just curious to know what that was.
Yeah, way different. And everyone listening, do not underestimate how difficult this is. Everybody thinks, oh, well, I just found a better contractor, it's going to go smoother for me. No, it's going to be challenging, and it will challenge the relationship. The good news was, because I was strangling so many contractors, she knew she needed to take care of me. So we didn't have conflict. There's so much conflict with contractors. There's no room for more conflict. Yeah.
Well, damn, what a team. That's great to have
that
that kind of support and the kind of yin and yang on that. Well, and I think too, like a lot of people think, I mean, you see things on, Windy City Rehab, and even like Instagram has a lot of really wonderful before and after photos, like we're going to show you, but to kind of like break it down so that people can understand this a little bit more, I think is so helpful to have that insight. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Happy to.
It's almost too bad we don't have like a before, middle, after in pictures where like just the middle for everyone is just like,
just like pulling your hair
like
out or something. Yeah. Or like, and like
totally.
finger pointing, like a lot of finger pointing and wagging. And I think, when I talk to a lot of our investors on these things, so what I'm hearing from you that I don't think we've directly said is checking the project and having status updates, going and seeing the property, checking in on the work, because you probably wouldn't have known that your wall had been pulled 3 feet in the wrong direction if you had not been managing the process.
Yes.
How often? There. Yeah. How often were you there?
3 times a week at least. 3 times a week at least. And not only is it important to find mistakes, but to make sure people are showing up. And also, no offense to any contractors listening, but a lot of contractors out there, they're like children in a playground that don't want to play with each other. They love pointing fingers at each other.
Right? True. Yes.
So you have to act like a parent sometimes. You're like, hey, wait, Jimmy, talk to Johnny over here. We can figure this out. So there's a lot of that. It was, you'll have to be there a lot. And my biggest advice is, well, obviously people say this all the time, vet the contractors you're going to work with, get references, do some Google searches. Is there Better Business Bureau reviews on them or Google reviews? Talk to those references, make sure, you drive by the house to see what they did of that reference, make sure, they did a nice job. Be very prepared with your deliverables for the contractor. So what I mean by that is, it's easy for us to walk through a condo or a house and be like, oh, I want to redo this kitchen. I want to put in stainless steel appliances. Yeah, okay, easy. But exactly what are you looking for? Are you looking for this level of cabinet? Are you looking for semi-custom? Are you looking for custom? How far do you want to go with it? What kind of trim work do you want it done? Are you going to just buy some trim work that's available from Home Depot, or is it going to be custom trim work? This is the kind of stuff that when you get into a project, the contractor will say, well, I didn't know that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
Right. And now you have a change order that takes your budget from here to here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So fascinating. Really, all of it's been really wonderful to talk to you about this stuff. I feel like we're probably going to have to ask you to be back on the podcast, because there's so much more I want to talk to you about. And I'd love to know about, more of your time in between these projects as well. But thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to us. It's been just so insightful.
Oh, you got it. And I'm just going to have a little drink here. John Hamm.
John Hamm?
It's Matthew McConaughey, right?
No, it's John Hamm.
Oh, it's John Hamm. Oh, okay.
Finding the right time to take a sip, but I was doing a lot of talking.
Yeah, Kayla, she gave us, we've been just giggling.
Go and see.
Yes.
Amazing.
Just giggling over
Best
that.
Christmas gift ever.
It's really wonderful. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much, Mike. We appreciate you.
I really appreciate being here. Nice
I guess we should, man, I always do this. I always wrap up before we should like give some insight. So follow Mike on Instagram. His handle is Facchini Finance. And then if you want to see the before and after photos, we'll post that on our Instagram, Sarita Sells Chicago. I literally have to read what my handle is. That's how fun my life is I don't know my handle. I'm looking at the notes. But we'll post some of those photos. And if you were listening to us on Spotify, get to YouTube so that you can check out. We got like a little private tour of his outdoor area there with the beautiful pizza oven.
And the mugs.
And the mugs. You got to see the mugs. So, all right. Thanks, Mike.
Bye, ladies. Thanks for
Right.
having me.
Thank you. Bye.
See you soon.